Welcome to the channel, where today we unravel one of the most electrifying and baffling mysteries in American numismatic history, a tale so layered in intrigue and suspense that it will make you question everything you thought you knew about pocket change, because what if a single, seemingly insignificant mistake in the U.S. Mint's production line transformed a humble 1984 Jefferson nickel into one of the most valuable coins ever struck, a coin so rare, so shrouded in whispers and speculation, that its very existence has sparked late-night debates among collectors, inspired feverish bidding wars in hushed auction rooms, and led some to wonder if a government cover-up kept its true story hidden for decades. And as we peel back the layers of this enigma, you'll discover that the origins of its extraordinary value lie not just in metal and minting, but in an unlikely collision of historical timing, technical error, and sheer chance that could never be replicated, because the Philadelphia Mint in 1984 was under immense pressure, producing millions of nickels at lightning speed, yet somewhere deep within those buzzing machines and watchful eyes, a flaw was born. Some say it was an overpolished die that erased crucial details like parts of Jefferson's portrait or the steps of Monticello. Others claim it was a double strike so perfectly misaligned that it created an eerie ghost image. And then there are those who believe the truth is stranger still, that a batch of planchets meant for another denomination slipped through, creating nickels of a metal composition that shouldn't exist, their weight and color betraying their origin only to the most skilled numismatists. And the deeper we go, the more the story twists, because these anomalies didn't just appear, they vanished almost as soon as they were born, perhaps melted down when inspectors realized the blunder, perhaps spirited away by someone who understood their future worth. And this scarcity has only fueled the obsession, turning every coin roll hunt, every dusty change jar, into a potential gold mine for the lucky finder, with legends of janitors at the mint pocketing flawed coins in their lunch breaks, of family heirlooms turning out to be multi-million-dollar treasures, of collectors who swore they saw one in the wild only to have it vanish from their grasp. And all of this plays out against the backdrop of 1980s America, a time of economic shifts, rising metal costs, and technological experimentation in coinage, where even small changes to dies and presses could produce anomalies no one noticed until decades later. And experts today pore over high-resolution photographs, comparing known specimens to common nickels, hunting for minute differences in lettering thickness, die cracks, and misplaced mint marks that could mark a genuine 1984 error. Yet for every confirmed find, there are dozens of fakes, doctored coins meant to deceive the untrained, making the hunt not only a challenge of luck but of skill, patience, and knowledge. And the stakes are dizzying because in pristine condition with the right error, this unassuming 5-cent piece can fetch sums that rival rare gold coins. And that allure has drawn in people who never cared about coins before, fueling wild theories about how many are still out there, sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, or vending machine hoppers. And each twist of the tale reveals another layer, rumors of a sealed box of mint sets containing multiple errors hidden away in a deceased collector's estate, whispers that the Mint's own archives have incomplete records for certain 1984 runs, leaving gaps in the official story that conspiracy-minded hunters fill with tales of intentional destruction to hide the magnitude of the mistake. And then there's the human side, the emotional weight of discovery, because when someone finally does stumble upon one of these elusive coins, it's not just about the money, it's about holding in their hand a piece of history that almost never was, a silent witness to the chaotic heartbeat of the Mint's production line on a day when something went spectacularly wrong. And that feeling, that rush, is what drives the obsession, pushing collectors to sift through thousands of nickels for years on end, chasing that moment when metal, history, and fate align in the palm of their hand. And so the 1984 Jefferson nickels legend grows, fed by each new find, each rumor, each auction that pushes the price higher, creating a self-sustaining cycle where the story itself becomes as valuable as the coin. And perhaps the most tantalizing part of all is the idea that right now, somewhere, one of these extraordinary nickels could be lying forgotten in a change drawer, passed over 100 times by people who never looked closely enough, waiting for the day when a sharp-eyed dreamer will recognize it for what it truly is. And in that moment, they will not just have found a coin, they will have unlocked a secret, stepped into a decades-old mystery, and joined a story that will be told and retold in hushed tones at coin shows and collector meetups for generations to come. And if you're wondering whether you could be that person, whether you could be the one to unearth the next great discovery in this saga, then remember this: the hunt never ends, the mystery never sleeps, and sometimes The rarest treasures are hiding in plain sight, just waiting for you to see them. Next 1973, D. Jefferson nickels. And imagine for a moment that in your pocket right now, buried beneath everyday change, could be a coin so rare, so shockingly valuable, that its mere existence defies logic and sends the numismatic world into a frenzy of speculation. A 1973 D. Jefferson nickel unlike any other, a tiny piece of metal forged in the unassuming mint halls of Denver that, through an almost impossible chain of minting anomalies, production slip-ups, and historical quirks, became a living legend whispered about in collector circles, a coin whose origin story reads less like a routine manufacturing event and more like a high-stakes mystery novel. What if a small, barely visible flaw, a subtle alignment error, or a misfed planchet gave birth to a once-in-a-lifetime minting error so elusive that only a handful, perhaps even just one, escaped into the wild before officials realized the mistake and quietly pulled the rest from circulation, perhaps even melting them down under the cover of bureaucratic silence, yet somehow one specimen endured, moving from hand to unsuspecting hand over decades, slipping through cash registers, piggy banks, and parking meters until an eagle-eyed collector spotted something unusual, an anomaly so subtle most would have missed it, the faint doubling in the date, the off-center strike that left Jefferson's portrait hauntingly shifted, the mysterious overmint mark that suggested this coin's dies had been repurposed from a different year or location, a practice the mint would never admit but one that older employees quietly hinted at over beers after retirement, and as word spread, theories multiplied like wildfire, some suggesting it was the result of an experimental alloy batch tested briefly in early 1973 before being scrapped for cost reasons. Others whispering about a clandestine test strike for a never-released commemorative that was accidentally mixed into a production run, and still others convinced that this was a deliberate act by a rogue mint worker leaving behind a numismatic calling card, a coin destined to spark obsession, rivalry, and treasure hunts decades later, and the deeper you dig into its backstory the stranger it gets. The early 70s were a turbulent time for American coinage, with inflation biting, metal prices fluctuating wildly, and the U.S. Mint scrambling to keep production costs under control, meaning any deviation from standard nickel composition could have been tested, even briefly, only to be hushed up. And what makes the 1973 D. Jefferson nickel so captivating is not just the errors themselves but the near-total absence of official acknowledgement, fueling the idea that somewhere in dusty archival boxes locked in government storage lies documentation confirming its extraordinary nature, a paper trail collectors would kill to see. Yet every request to access it meets bureaucratic dead ends, which only drives the legend further, stories of lucky finds at garage sales for mere cents, of coins pulled from old cigar boxes belonging to grandfathers who worked at the Denver Mint, of bidding wars at shadowy private auctions where deep-pocketed collectors fight tooth and nail over an example rumored to be one of only 3 in known existence, each sale price climbing into the tens of thousands, then hundreds of thousands, and some daring to speculate that in pristine uncirculated condition with all anomalies present, it could fetch over $1 million at auction, yet as intoxicating as that number is, money is only part of the draw. Owning this coin is like holding a tangible piece of a hidden American history in your palm, a story the textbooks never told, a mystery the government never wanted widely known, a relic that connects you directly to the men and women who struck it, the quirks of machinery that birthed it, the secrecy that tried to bury it, and the relentless human drive to find what is rare, unique, and unrepeatable. And so the 1973 D. Jefferson nickel stands as more than just currency. It is a spark that ignites hunts in coin rolls from banks, fuels late-night research sessions combing through auction records, and inspires whispered conversations at coin shows where grizzled collectors lean in close, eyes narrowing as they recount the moment they thought they might have found one, only to feel that crushing mix of disappointment and renewed determination when it turned out to be a false alarm. Yet still they search, because in this world of numismatic passion the possibility of finding the 1973 D error is enough to keep hope alive, and the closer you look, the more the coincidences stack up, the reports of coins with planchet cracks suggesting experimental materials, the odd die polishing marks inconsistent with the era, the misaligned dies that seem to tell of a hurried, almost panicked correction mid-production. And then there are the theories that take things even further into the realm of conspiracy, that the coin was Intentionally created as a distraction from a far larger mint scandal in the early 70s, its scarcity not an accident but a controlled anomaly meant to draw collectors' eyes away from something far more significant, a possibility bolstered by old interviews where retired mint supervisors smile faintly when the subject comes up and say only, "Some stories are better left as stories," before changing the subject. And you begin to realize that whether by accident or design, the 1973 D. Jefferson nickel has become more than a collectible, it has become a legend, one that refuses to die, one that grows in intrigue with every new rumor, every fresh discovery, every tantalizing clue that emerges from estate sales, dusty attic boxes, and forgotten safe deposit drawers, and maybe, just maybe, even as you watch this, one sits in a jar of coins in your kitchen, waiting for the moment you notice that tiny imperfection, that barely there doubling, that whisper of an overstrike, and in that instant the world changes, because you won't just be holding 5 cents, you'll be holding a piece of history, a secret worth more than gold, a treasure whose story will outlive us all, and if that doesn't make you want to check your change right now, then nothing will, so keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass handy, and your curiosity alive, because in the world of rare coins, the hunt is as thrilling as the find, and the 1973 D. Jefferson nickel may just be the greatest hidden prize still out there. Don't blink, don't stop searching, and if you ever find one, you'll understand why collectors have been chasing this ghost of a coin for decades, so stay tuned, stay hungry, and never underestimate the power of a small mistake to make history, and before you go, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss the next deep dive into the world's most extraordinary hidden treasures. Next 1982_D Jefferson, where today we're diving headfirst into a numismatic mystery so gripping, so tantalizing, that it might just make your heart race and your mind spin with questions like, what if a single, seemingly insignificant coin could rewrite history, spark obsession, and be worth more than a mansion? Imagine a tiny piece of metal, struck in 1982, that holds secrets so profound it's become a legend among collectors, a whispered tale of government blunders, lost treasures, and jaw-dropping discoveries that could make you question everything you know about the coins jingling in your pocket. Let's unravel the enigma of the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin that, on the surface, seems like any other 5-cent piece, but beneath its unassuming facade lies a story of minting errors so rare, production anomalies so bizarre, and a rarity so extreme that it's driven collectors to the brink of madness, scouring bankrolls, flea markets, and even their own change jars for a chance at uncovering a fortune. Picture this, it's 1982, the United States Mint in Denver is churning out millions of Jefferson nickels, each one bearing the stoic profile of Thomas Jefferson and the iconic Monticello on the reverse, but something goes terribly, wonderfully wrong, a slip-up so subtle yet so monumental that it creates a coin that could be worth thousands, maybe millions, to the right collector. The 1982 D. Jefferson nickel isn't just any coin, it's a relic of a time when the mint was navigating a turbulent economy, with inflation soaring and the cost of copper rising, forcing a pivotal decision that would forever alter the fate of this nickel. In 1982, the mint was transitioning, experimenting, and under pressure to produce coins efficiently, but in the chaos of mass production, a few rogue nickels slipped through the cracks, bearing errors that would make them the holy grail of modern coin collecting. What if one of those errors was a double die, where the design was accidentally stamped twice, creating a ghostly double image of Jefferson's face or Monticello's steps that only the keenest eyes could spot? Or what if a coin was struck on the wrong planchet, a blank meant for a dime or even a foreign coin, making it a freak of numismatic nature? These aren't just hypotheticals, they're real anomalies that have sent collectors into a frenzy, with stories of people finding these coins in everyday change and selling them for enough to buy a car, a house, or even fund a dream life. Let's step back to the Denver Mint, where the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel was born. Over 373 million were struck, a staggering number that should make it common, right? Wrong. The mint took a 2-year hiatus from producing uncirculated coin sets in 1982 and 1983, meaning no pristine, mint-sealed sets were available to collectors, a decision that turned the 1982 D into a ghost coin, rarely found in gem condition, with only a handful preserved in the kind of pristine state that makes collectors salivate. This scarcity alone drives its value skyward, but it's the errors, the glorious, baffling errors, that elevate this nickel to legendary status. Imagine a coin where the D mint mark is mispunched, slightly off-center, or even doubled, a mistake so minute it requires a magnifying glass to detect, yet so significant it can turn a 5-cent piece into a 5-figure treasure. Then there's the possibility of a full steps designation, where Monticello's steps are struck with such clarity that all 6 are perfectly defined, a feat so rare that only a fraction of 1982 D nickels qualify, with some fetching prices as high as $15,000 at auction. But the plot thickens. What if the mint accidentally used a worn-out die, causing weak strikes that make some nickels look faded, almost haunted, as if Jefferson himself is fading into history? These weak strikes, combined with the absence of mint sets, mean that finding a 1982 D in pristine condition is like finding a needle in a haystack, and when you add errors like off-center strikes or clipped planchets, where part of the coin's edge is missing, the value skyrockets into the stratosphere. Now, let's weave in the historical context. 1982 was a pivotal year, not just for the economy but for the mint itself, as it grappled with the aftermath of the copper crisis that forced a change in penny composition from copper to zinc. Could this turmoil have distracted mint workers, leading to oversights that birthed these rare errors? Some numismatists speculate that the pressure to meet production quotas led to rushed quality control, allowing defective coins to slip into circulation, while others whisper of deliberate sabotage. Could a rogue mint employee have tampered with dies to create these anomalies, knowing they'd become collectors' gold decades later? These theories fuel the numismatic obsession, a passion that's driven collectors to spend lifetimes hunting for the 1982 D, with stories of discoveries that sound like something out of a treasure hunting novel. Take the tale of a Kentucky farmer who, in the 1990s, found a 1982 D nickel in his change at a gas station, noticed its odd sheen, and had it graded as MS-67 with full steps, selling it for $12,600 at a heritage auction sale in 2023, a life-changing windfall from a single coin. Or consider the collector in Ohio who, after decades of searching, stumbled upon a 1982 D with a dramatic double die error at a flea market, paying a quarter for a coin later valued at $7,000. These stories aren't just anecdotes, they're proof that the 1982 D Jefferson nickel is a ticking time bomb of potential wealth, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to claim it. But the mystery deepens. Why are so few of these error coins known? Could millions of 1982 D nickels still be out there, lost in circulation, stashed in forgotten coin jars, or even melted down during the coin shortages of the 1980s? The government slip-ups didn't end with production. The lack of mint sets meant that collectors had to rely on circulation finds or souvenir sets sold at the Denver Mint, which were often mishandled or lost over time, making pristine examples even rarer. Experts like Charles Morgan from CoinWeek have noted that the 1982 DS scarcity in high grades, combined with its potential for errors, makes it a conditional rarity, a term that sends shivers down the spine of any serious numismatist. The full steps designation, for instance, is a badge of honor, requiring perfect striking conditions and flawless preservation, and only a handful of 1982 D nickels have achieved it, with one PCGS graded MS67 plus FS selling for a staggering $12,600 in May 2023, only to be resold 2 months later for double that amount, raising questions about market manipulation or a hidden collector's war driving prices to dizzying heights. The numismatic world is rife with such intrigue, with collectors forming secret societies, trading tips on forums, and even hiring professional cherry pickers to scour coin shops for these elusive errors. What if the next 1982 D you find in your pocket is one of these rarities? What if it's a coin that slipped through the mint's fingers, a mistake that could rewrite your financial future? The obsession doesn't stop there. Some collectors believe the 1982 D holds clues to larger conspiracies, like the theory that the mint deliberately suppressed certain error coins to control their rarity, or that lost dies from 1982 are still out there, waiting to be rediscovered in some forgotten vault. These wild speculations only add fuel to the fire, making every 1982 D nickel a potential Pandora's box of mystery and value. Let's not forget the human element, the collectors who've dedicated their lives to this pursuit, like Richard J. Bousquet, author of photographs of Thomas Jefferson nickels, die varieties and minting errors, who spent 8 years documenting every subtle variation, from repunched mint marks to die cracks, turning the 1982 D into a canvas of numismatic art. His work reveals that the 1982 D isn't just a coin, it's a story of human error, ambition, and the relentless quest for perfection in an imperfect world. And then there's the legend of the lost 1982 D, coins rumored to have been struck on experimental planchets or with unrecorded errors, whispered about in collector circles but never confirmed, like a numismatic Bigfoot. Imagine finding one of these in a dusty coin roll at a yard sale, your hands trembling as you realize you're holding a piece of history that could fetch six figures at auction. The stakes are high, the emotions are raw, and the 1982 D Jefferson nickel is the key to unlocking this treasure hunt. Every detail of this coin, from its copper-nickel composition to its 21.21 mm diameter, designed by Felix Schlag, is a clue in this unfolding drama. The reverse, with Monticello's iconic steps, isn't just a design, it's a battleground where striking pressure, die condition, and sheer luck determine whether a coin is worth 5 cents or $5,000. The obverse, with Jefferson's stoic gaze, seems to challenge you to look closer, to see the double die or the misaligned mint mark that could change everything. As you sit there, watching this video, ask yourself, could you be holding one of these coins right now? Next, 1968 D Jefferson Nickels USA coins today. Where today we're diving headfirst into a numismatic enigma that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the coins in your pocket. What if a single, seemingly insignificant mistake at the US Mint in 1968 turned an ordinary nickel into a treasure worth thousands, perhaps millions, and sparked a decades-long obsession among collectors who'd risk everything to hold it in their hands? Picture this, it's 1968, a year of upheaval, with the Vietnam War raging, civil rights battles shaking the nation, and the US Mint in Denver churning out millions of Jefferson nickels, each one stamped with a tiny D beneath the date, a mundane 5-cent piece featuring Thomas Jefferson's stoic profile on one side and his grand Monticello estate on the other. But somewhere in that bustling mint, a catastrophic error slipped through, a glitch so subtle yet so profound that it would transform a humble coin into a holy grail of numismatics, a relic that collectors whisper about in hushed tones, as if speaking its name too loudly might jinx their chances of ever finding it. The 1968 D Jefferson nickel, with a mintage of over 91 million, should have been just another workhorse of American currency, unremarkable in its copper-nickel composition, 75% copper, 25% nickel, weighing exactly 5 grams, with a smooth edge and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. But something went wrong, terribly, gloriously wrong. And that's where our story begins, shrouded in mystery and fueled by the tantalizing possibility that a single coin could rewrite someone's fortune. Let's rewind to the Denver Mint, where the rhythmic clanking of coin presses filled the air, workers toiled under pressure to meet production quotas, and quality control was stretched thin. Could it be that in this high-stakes environment, a die was misaligned, a planchet was mishandled, or a mint mark was punched incorrectly, creating a freakish anomaly that no one noticed until it was too late? The most famous error associated with the 1968 D nickel is the elusive double die, a mistake where the die used to strike the coin was accidentally impressed twice, causing a ghostly doubling of Jefferson's portrait, the date, or the words, "In God We Trust," so subtle you'd need a magnifying glass to spot it, yet so significant that it could elevate a nickel's value from 5 cents to thousands of dollars in the blink of an eye. What if one of these double die nickels, known to exist in small numbers, was sitting unnoticed in a jar of change on your kitchen counter right now? The numismatic world buzzes with stories of such errors, like the 1939 doubled Monticello nickel that fetched $4,600 at auction in 2022, or the 1943 P double die nickel that sold for $3,738 in 2006, adjusted to over $5,600 in today's money. But the 1968 D holds its own dark allure, with whispers of specimens so rare they've never been publicly catalogued, hidden in private collections or lost to time, waiting to be rediscovered by someone with the keen eye to spot the anomaly. Imagine the scene, a collector in a dimly lit coin shop, heart pounding as they peer through a loop at a 1968 D nickel, noticing a faint doubling in the date, a telltale sign of a minting error. Could this be the one, the fabled coin that numismatists dream of, the one that could pay off a mortgage or fund a lifetime of adventures? The stakes are high, because errors like these aren't just mistakes, they're accidents of fate, frozen in metal, each one a unique fingerprint of a moment when the U.S. Mint's precision faltered, and the rarity of such errors drives collectors into a frenzy, willing to pay astronomical sums for a coin that most would toss into a vending machine without a second thought. But what makes the 1968 D so extraordinary? Let's dig deeper into the history. 1968 was a pivotal year for U.S. coinage, as the mint transitioned from silver to copper-nickel compositions for most coins, a cost-saving move sparked by rising silver prices and the Coinage Act of 1965, which eliminated silver from dimes and quarters and reduced it in half dollars, leaving the nickel as one of the last bastions of non-precious metal currency. Yet even this base coin wasn't immune to errors that could skyrocket its value. The Denver Mint, known for its D mint mark, had resumed using mint marks in 1968 after a 3-year hiatus from 1965 to 1967, when the mint omitted them to deter hoarding during the silver shortage. Could this abrupt return to mint mark stamping have led to sloppy craftsmanship, with workers rushing to punch D onto dies, sometimes misaligning or overpunching, creating rare varieties like the repunched mint mark, RPM, where a faint shadow of a second D lurks beneath the primary one? Such RPM errors, while not as famous as the 1942 DD over horizontal D nickel that sold for $32,200 in 2006, are coveted by collectors for their scarcity, and the 1968 D is rumored to have its own RPM variants, though few have been documented, adding to the coin's mystique. Could there be an undiscovered RPM out there, waiting to be found in a dusty coin roll or a forgotten estate sale? The numismatic community is obsessed with such possibilities, driven by tales of collectors who've stumbled upon life-changing finds, like the 1971 NOS Jefferson nickel, a proof coin missing its San Francisco mint mark that's worth over $4,000 in pristine condition, or the 1964 SMS Jefferson nickel, with fewer than 24 known examples, fetching up to $32,900 at auction. What if the 1968 D harbors a similar secret, a variety so rare it's yet to be fully recognized? The government's role in these slip-ups only deepens the intrigue. The U.S. Mint, tasked with producing billions of coins with surgical precision, has a history of errors slipping through the cracks, from the 1955 double-die Lincoln penny to the 1982 no-mint mark Roosevelt dime, each mistake a testament to human fallibility in an era when machines were supposed to be infallible. Could the 1968 DS errors be the result of overworked mint employees, outdated equipment, or even sabotage by a rogue worker, as some wild theories suggest? One collector's tale, shared on a numismatic forum, tells of a 1968 D nickel with a dramatic off-center strike, where Jefferson's face is shifted so far to one side that part of the design is missing, discovered in a bankroll in 1985 and later sold for $1,200. A modest sum compared to the $4.5 million paid for a 1913 Liberty Head nickel in 2022, but enough to fuel dreams of striking it rich. Another story, passed down like folklore, involves a Denver Mint worker who allegedly pocketed a handful of error coins in 1968, including a 1968 D with a mysterious ghost image of Monticello, only to lose them in a poker game decades later. Could those coins still be out there, circulating in the hands of someone unaware of their value? The numismatic obsession with the 1968 D isn't just about money, it's about the thrill of the hunt, the adrenaline rush of uncovering a hidden treasure, and the stories that make each coin a piece of history. Collectors pore over every detail, from the sharpness of Monticello's steps, a feature so coveted that full steps nickels command premium prices, to the tiniest imperfections in the date or mint mark, knowing that a single anomaly could turn a 5-cent coin into a 5-figure windfall. But the 1968 DS rarity is also its curse. With a mintage of 91,227,880, finding a true error is like searching for a needle in a haystack, and even experts disagree on how many significant errors exist. Some estimate only a few dozen double-die or RPM 1968 D nickels are known, while others believe more are waiting to be discovered, hidden in circulation or tucked away in forgotten collections. The value of a 1968 D Jefferson nickel in average circulated condition is a mere 5 cents, but in uncirculated mint state, MS+, it can fetch up to $19, and error coins climb much higher. Imagine a 1968 D with a dramatic double die, graded MS 65, potentially worth hundreds or even thousands, depending on the severity of the error and the market's mood. The numismatic world is littered with tales of shocking discoveries, like the 1968 S-proof nickel with a possible error discussed on a coin forum, where collectors debated whether a strange pattern was a true minting anomaly or just post-strike damage, a reminder that not every oddity is a jackpot, yet the 1968 D keeps its secrets close, with no definitive catalog of its errors, leaving collectors to speculate and dream. Some theories border on the conspiratorial. Was the mint covering up a major error to avoid embarrassment, destroying defective coins before they could reach the public, or did a small batch of experimental strikes slip out, perhaps struck on the wrong planchet, like a nickel on a dime blank, a mistake that could be worth tens of thousands? The lack of concrete evidence only fuels the mystery, as collectors scour bank rolls, estate sales, and flea markets, hoping to stumble. Next, 1982, D. Jefferson, where today you're about to step into one of the most gripping, mind-bending, and pulse-pounding mysteries in all of numismatic history, because what if a small mistake, an almost imperceptible flaw in the manufacturing process of a common pocket change coin, transformed it into one of the most valuable and sought-after treasures ever struck by the United States Mint, a coin that, on the surface, appears to be just another nickel you could pull from your loose change, yet beneath that dull metallic surface hides a story of extraordinary rarity, unexplainable errors, and an intrigue so deep that even seasoned coin experts are still arguing over the full truth behind it, and that coin is none other than the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin whose journey from mundane production run to legendary status is a twisting tale of government missteps, secretive minting anomalies, and jaw-dropping discoveries that leave even the most experienced collectors stunned, because in 1982, the Denver Mint was churning out millions upon millions of Jefferson nickels without much fanfare, their machines whirring in the usual rhythm, dies being changed when worn, blanks being fed through the presses, the kind of mechanical monotony that usually yields nothing more than the coins we toss into jars at the end of the day, but somewhere in that endless flow of metal and minting came a moment, perhaps just a fraction of a second, when something went wrong, or maybe something went intentionally different, and that's where the legend begins, because reports from collectors decades later began to surface of 1982 D. Jefferson nickels with striking irregularities, from double dies that made Jefferson's profile shimmer oddly under light, to planchet composition anomalies suggesting some were struck on the wrong metal entirely, to shocking off-center strikes so perfectly imperfect they seemed almost designed as a secret calling card, and the theories exploded from there, some insisting this was the result of a routine minting error magnified by pure luck, others convinced it was the handiwork of an insider testing out or sabotaging the production line, and still others whispering about government experiments with transitional metals during an economically turbulent period, a time when the mint was quietly shifting coin compositions and perhaps, just perhaps, slipped a few test strikes into public circulation without ever documenting them, a practice that, if true, would make each surviving example an unintentional time capsule of classified mint operations, and as these rumors grew, so did the sightings, with one man in the Midwest reportedly pulling a nearly flawless 1982 D from a bankroll only to realize the weight was off by a fraction of a gram, and when he took it to a local dealer, the coin's magnetic reaction suggested it wasn't the standard copper-nickel alloy at all, but something far rarer, perhaps an experimental stainless steel blend, and this sparked a frenzy of search efforts, from collectors scouring flea markets and coin rolls to treasure hunters sweeping dusty attics in hopes of finding a misplaced piece, while the numismatic community debated endlessly in hushed conversations at conventions about whether the mint had, in fact, lost control of part of its production in 1982, especially in Denver, a facility already known for occasional quality control slip-ups, and what makes this story even more electrifying is that the confirmed error coins, those few authenticated by leading grading services, have sold for shocking sums, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars for examples in pristine condition, and the potential for one with a combination of errors, say, a double die on the obverse, struck on a transitional planchet, with an off-center strike, has fueled speculation that a perfect storm specimen could reach seven figures if it ever came to auction, a figure that may seem absurd until you realize that in the world of coin collecting, rarity combined with mystery is the ultimate formula for value, and here we have both in spades, with some experts claiming that fewer than a dozen of the most extreme 1982 D variants exist, while others argue that undiscovered hoards could be sitting, unrecognized, in coffee cans or dresser drawers across America, but the deeper you dive, the stranger it gets. Because certain numismatic historians point to inconsistencies in the mint's official production records for that year, with small unexplained gaps in dye usage logs and oddities in alloy shipment reports, leading to theories about undocumented dye trials or clandestine experimental runs, and while the mint has never officially confirmed such activity, silence in itself has only poured gasoline on the fire of speculation, turning the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel from a mere coin into a piece of forbidden lore, a tangible riddle in metal form. And what's truly intoxicating about this mystery is the human element. The obsession of those who chase it, like the retired machinist who reportedly spent 12 years traveling state to state with a magnifying loupe and a pocket scale, checking every nickel he received in change, amassing a small but astonishing collection of anomalous 1982 DS that he refuses to sell, claiming they're pieces of a puzzle the mint doesn't want solved. Or the young collector who bought a roll of nickels at a yard sale only to discover one so misaligned that Jefferson's face seemed to fade into the rim, a coin later graded MS-67 and sold for enough to pay off his student loans, and with each of these tales, the myth grows, because unlike many numismatic rarities, which are catalogued and exhaustively documented, the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel story is still unfolding in real time, with every new find altering the shape of the narrative, every theory spawning new threads of possibility, and the question that grips every serious collector remains the same: how many of these truly extraordinary examples are out there, and could the most valuable one still be sitting, unseen, in the very change you got this morning? Because if the rumors about a perfect 1982 D error are true, and if such a coin were to surface, the value could be so astronomical it would rewrite the record books and force the mint to confront a chapter of its history it may prefer to keep buried. So as you listen to this story, ask yourself, what would you do if you found one? Would you cash in for life-changing money or hold on to it as the ultimate secret? Because in the world of rare coins, sometimes the biggest treasures aren't locked in vaults but hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to see what others overlook. And that's why the 1982 D. Jefferson nickel isn't just a coin, it's a mystery, a legend, and perhaps the most thrilling treasure hunt hiding in your pocket right now. So keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and if you ever stumble across one of these anomalies, you might just hold history, and a fortune, in the palm of your hand. And if you want to keep exploring these hidden stories and be the first to hear about the next incredible discovery that could change everything you thought you knew about the coins in your pocket, make sure to like, subscribe, and join us on the next hunt for the truth. Next 2013_D Jefferson, where today we plunge into the shadowy, pulse-pounding world of the 2013 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin so ordinary in appearance yet shrouded in secrets that could make it the most valuable 5-cent piece ever struck. What if a single minting mistake transformed a humble nickel into a numismatic legend worth thousands, or even millions, to the right collector? Picture this: it's 2013, the United States Mint in Denver is churning out millions of Jefferson nickels, each one a gleaming tribute to the third president, Thomas Jefferson, his stoic profile etched on the obverse, Monticello's elegant dome gracing the reverse. But somewhere in the clatter of machinery and the rush of production, something goes terribly, wonderfully wrong. A glitch, a slip, an anomaly that sends shockwaves through the numismatic world, creating a coin so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors would trade their life savings to hold it in their hands. Let's unravel this mystery together, diving deep into the chaos of minting errors, the whispers of government cover-ups, and the feverish obsession of collectors who've spent lifetimes chasing this elusive treasure. Because the 2013 D. Jefferson nickel isn't just a coin, it's a saga of human error, hidden fortunes, and secrets buried in plain sight. First, let's set the stage. The Jefferson nickel, introduced in 1938, is a cornerstone of American coinage, its 75% copper and 25% nickel composition giving it that familiar silvery sheen, weighing exactly 5 grams, measuring 21.21 millimeters in diameter, with a plain edge that feels smooth to the touch. But in 2013, the Denver Mint produced 615,600,000 of these coins, a staggering number that should make any error seem like a needle in a haystack. Yet, errors did happen, and they were spectacular. The most tantalizing of these is the double die error, a minting flaw where the die strikes the planchet at slightly different angles, creating a ghostly doubling of the design, particularly on the reverse where Monticello and 5 cents appear to shimmer with an eerie, overlapping shadow, what if this error was so pronounced, so perfectly misaligned, that it caught the eye of a collector at a 2014 auction, who paid a jaw-dropping $215 for a single 2013 PMS 61 nickel with this very flaw? But that's just the beginning. The doubled die is common enough to be attainable, yet its value skyrockets with the intensity of the doubling. Imagine finding one where Jefferson's profile itself is doubled, his eyes staring out in a haunting duplicate, a coin that could fetch thousands if graded uncirculated. But how did such a mistake slip past the mint's rigorous quality control? And why do some whisper it wasn't a mistake at all, but a deliberate act lost to history? Let's venture deeper into the enigma with the counter-brokerage error, a rare phenomenon where a struck coin sticks to the hammer die and impresses its design onto the next blank planchet, creating a nickel with Monticello's image bizarrely stamped on both sides, one side crisp, the other a blurry ghost of the original. Picture a collector at a 2014 Heritage auction sale, heart-pounding, bidding $685 for a 2013 DMS 65 with this error, a coin so scarce that fewer than 100 such examples are known across all modern U.S. denominations. What makes this error so mesmerizing is its sheer improbability. How does a coin stick to a die in a high-speed press, and why wasn't it caught before it left the mint? Some collectors speculate it's not just a mechanical fluke but a sign of rushed production, perhaps a government push to meet quotas during a turbulent economic year, but others whisper darker theories. Could a rogue mint employee have tampered with the process, creating these anomalies as a hidden signature, a secret only the most obsessive numismatists would uncover? The plot thickens with the improperly annealed nickel, a production anomaly where the planchet, subjected to intense heat and cooling to harden the metal, emerges with a surreal, otherworldly hue, black, brown, purplish, or even orange, colors that scream mistake to anyone who sees them. In 2015, Great Collections sold a 2013 DMS 60 with this error for $215, but what if the discoloration was so vivid, so unique, that it became a one-of-a-kind masterpiece, valued not just for its error but for its haunting beauty? Collectors live for these moments, scouring bank rolls, coin shops, and flea markets, driven by the thrill of discovery, because every improperly annealed nickel tells a story of a process gone awry, a moment where the mint's precision faltered, and a coin became a relic of industrial chaos. But the crown jewel of 2013 D errors might be the full missing clad layer, a dramatic flaw where the outer nickel-copper layer peels away, exposing the raw copper core beneath, transforming a silver-hued nickel into a blazing copper anomaly. Imagine the shock of a collector at a 2016 Heritage auction sale, watching a 2013 PMS 62 with this error sell for $620, its exposed core glinting like a forbidden treasure. This error, whether partial or full, is a numismatic unicorn, with full missing clad layers being the most coveted. But what causes such a catastrophic failure? Was it a defective batch of planchets, a lapse in quality control, or something more sinister, like a mint experiment gone wrong, hushed up to avoid public scrutiny? The numismatic community buzzes with theories, some claiming these coins were accidentally released, others insisting they were smuggled out by insiders who knew their potential value. Then there's the die crack error, a more common but no less fascinating flaw where the die itself fractures, leaving raised lines on the coin's surface, like scars from a battle within the mint's presses. Picture a 2015 eBay auction where a 2013 PMS 60 with a prominent die crack fetched $110. Its jagged imperfection a badge of honor for collectors who crave the tangible evidence of a die's demise. But the intrigue doesn't stop there. Strike-through errors, where foreign objects like string, metal, or dust get caught between the die and planchet, create bizarre indentations or textures, and in 2017, a 2013 PMS 63 with a retained strike-through, where the object stayed embedded in the coin, sold for $412, sparking debates about what exactly was struck into the metal and why it wasn't removed before the coin escaped into circulation. Die chip errors, where small pieces of the die break off, leaving raised bumps on the coin, add another layer to the mystery, with a 2013 DMS 65 reverse die chip selling for $215 at Heritage auctions in 2016. What if these chips formed a pattern, a hidden code only visible to those who know where to look? And then there's the rim cut error, a raised bump along the coin's edge caused by a broken die, with a 2013 PMS61 fetching $310 at great collections, its prominence making it a collector's dream. But could these errors be more than random? Some numismatists speculate that the 2013 D nickels, produced during a time of economic recovery and mint modernization, were subject to experimental processes that led to these anomalies, perhaps a new alloy mix or a test of high-speed presses that pushed dies beyond their limits, creating a perfect storm of errors that slipped through the cracks. Let's pause on that thought. What if the 2013 D Jefferson nickel errors weren't accidents but part of a secret mint trial, a test of new technology or materials that went undocumented, leaving behind a trail of coins that defy explanation? The numismatic community is no stranger to conspiracy theories, with some collectors pointing to the mint's tight-lipped nature about production anomalies, suggesting that these errors were either intentional or swept under the rug to avoid embarrassment. Imagine a mint worker, late at night, noticing a batch of misstruck coins but letting them pass, knowing they'd become treasures for someone out there, or worse, imagine a deliberate act, a worker slipping a few error coins into circulation as a personal legacy, a middle finger to the system. These theories fuel the obsession of collectors like Sarah Thompson, a numismatist from Ohio who, in 2022, found a 2013 P missing clad layer in a bankroll, her heart racing as she realized its copper core could fetch $580 at auction, a discovery that changed her life and made her a legend in local coin clubs. Stories like Sarah's are the lifeblood of numismatics, where every coin is a potential jackpot, a piece of history that could rewrite your future. Imagine rifling through your pocket change, your fingers brushing against a 2013 D nickel, and realizing it's not just 5 cents but a fortune waiting to be claimed. But the hunt isn't easy. Finding these errors requires patience, a 10x magnifying glass, and an eye for the unusual. Look for doubling in the lettering, strange colors, or irregularities along the rim, and compare your finds to known examples, because even a circulated 2013 D error can be worth hundreds, while uncirculated specimens skyrocket into the thousands. The value of these coins isn't just in their rarity but in their stories. Each error is a snapshot of a moment when the mint's perfection faltered, a human error frozen in metal, and collectors like James Howells, who famously lost a hard drive with 8,000 bitcoins in 2013, remind us of the stakes involved in losing something valuable, though his story pales compared to the collector who found a 2013 D counter-brokerage error in a vending machine, only to sell it for $685 and fund a dream vacation. Next 2008, P. Jefferson Nickel USA coin, where today we're diving headfirst into a numismatic mystery so gripping, so electrifying, it'll make your heart race and your mind spin with questions. What if a single, seemingly insignificant coin, struck in 2008 at the Philadelphia Mint, holds secrets so profound it could be worth more than a luxury car, a dream home, or even a fortune that could change your life forever? Picture this, a humble 2008 P. Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent piece you might have tossed into a vending machine without a second thought. But what if I told you that some of these coins, born from chaos in the minting process, are so rare, so extraordinary, that collectors lose sleep, drain bank accounts, and travel continents just to glimpse them? Let's unravel the enigma of the 2008 P. Jefferson nickel, a coin that's not just currency but a portal to a world of government slip-ups, mind-bending errors, and tales of obsession that read like a thriller novel. It all begins in the heart of the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia, where in 2008, with a mintage of 279,840,000 nickels, the machines hummed with precision, striking coins with Thomas Jefferson's forward-facing portrait, a design that had returned to the classic Monticello reverse after the Westward Journey series shook things up from 2004 to 2007. But amidst this mechanical symphony, something went wrong, terribly, gloriously wrong. Imagine a planchet, the blank metal disc destined to become a coin, slipping through the cracks of quality control, its copper-nickel-clad layer failing to bond, leaving one or both sides a shocking copper hue, as if the coin itself was blushing with shame at its imperfection. This missing clad layer error, so rare it's like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a skyscraper, transforms an ordinary nickel into a numismatic unicorn, with one example graded MS60 selling for a jaw-dropping $435 at a 2022 Heritage Auction sale, a price that whispers of its scarcity and screams of its allure. But why does this happen? The minting process, a marvel of engineering, is a high-stakes dance of molten metal, massive presses, and razor-sharp dies, yet it's not infallible, impurities in the metal, a momentary lapse in the bonding process, and suddenly a coin is born with a secret that only the keenest eyes can spot. And that's just the beginning. What if the dies themselves, those steel molds that stamped Jefferson's stoic face and Monticello's elegant steps, were misaligned, creating a coin where the portrait is tilted at a 90-degree angle, as if Jefferson himself is leaning in to whisper a secret to you? This misaligned die error, a fluke of human or mechanical error, turned one 2008 P nickel, graded MS-64, into a $710 treasure at a 2023 Great Collections auction, a coin so disorienting it feels like it's defying the laws of physics. But the plot thickens. Imagine a die clash, where the obverse and reverse dies smash together without a planchet between them, imprinting ghostly images of Monticello onto Jefferson's face or vice versa, a surreal mistake that sold for $400 in 2022, making collectors wonder, how many of these spectral coins slipped into circulation, hiding in plain sight? The 2008 P nickels errors don't stop there. Picture a broad-struck coin, where the planchet escapes the collar that shapes its edge, resulting in a nickel with a freakishly large diameter and a thin, stretched rim, a 2008 D cousin of which fetched $920 on eBay in 2020, a testament to its bizarre beauty. Then there's the die crack error, where cracks in the die leave raised lines on the coin, like scars telling tales of overworked machinery. One 2008 D example selling for $405 in 2023, its imperfections a badge of honor in the numismatic world. And what about the off-center strike, where the design is smashed off-kilter, leaving part of the coin blank and the rest a chaotic masterpiece, with a 2008 D specimen, 15% off-center, commanding $620 at auction? Or the improperly annealed planchet, where a botched heating process turns the coin a bizarre black, brown, or even purple, a 2008 PMS65 example selling for $515, its otherworldly color making it a collector's fever dream. These errors, these anomalies, are not just mistakes, they're stories etched in metal, each one a snapshot of a moment when the U.S. Mint, that bastion of precision, faltered under the weight of its own ambition. But why do these errors captivate us so? It's the thrill of the hunt, the pulse-pounding possibility that the next nickel you find in your pocket change could be a hidden gem worth thousands. Numismatists, those obsessive guardians of coin lore, speak of the 2008 P nickel with a reverence usually reserved for ancient relics, their forums buzzing with tales of discoveries that sound like modern-day treasure hunts. Take the story of a collector in Ohio who, in 2008, found two nickels in his change with identical die chips near the zero in the date, a blob of metal that looked like a mistake but sparked heated debates on collectors' universe. Was it a cud, a die chip, or something entirely new? Experts like Fred Weinberg, a titan in the error coin world, weighed in, calling it a die chip, common yet potentially unique, a find that could be the first of its kind for that year, igniting a frenzy of speculation. Then there's the legend of the 2008 P nickel struck on a dime planchet, a double denomination error so rare it's like a unicorn riding a phoenix, one MS-62 example selling for $1,800 in 2022, its tiny size and mismatched design a numismatic paradox that defies logic. But what drives this obsession? Is it the money, the history, or something deeper? Consider the historical context. 2008 was a year of turmoil, the global financial crisis shaking the world, the U.S. Mint under pressure to churn out coins while the economy crumbled. Could these errors be a reflection of that chaos, a government slip-up immortalized in copper and nickel? Some collectors whisper of conspiracy. Did the Mint intentionally let these errors slip through to distract from economic woes, or were they simply overwhelmed, their quality control stretched thin? Others theorize about lost coins, nickels that vanished into circulation, sitting in piggy banks or vending machines, waiting for a savvy collector to claim them. Imagine the story of a New Jersey retiree who, in 2015, found a 2008 P nickel with a clipped planchet, its edge bitten off like a crescent moon, selling it for $705 on eBay, a discovery that turned a routine trip to the grocery store into a life-changing moment. These stories fuel the numismatic fire, each coin a chapter in a saga of human error, mechanical failure, and the relentless pursuit of rarity. But the mystery deepens. What if the true value of these coins lies not just in their errors but in the stories they tell? A 2008 P nickel with a 50% off center strike, graded MS63, sold for $2,300 in 2021, not just for its dramatic error but for the tale of the collector who found it in a roll of coins at a small-town bank, a discovery that sparked a bidding war among numismatists desperate to own a piece of history. The 2008 P Jefferson nickel, with its high mintage, should be common, unremarkable, yet its errors make it a paradox, a coin that's both everywhere and nowhere, a treasure hiding in plain sight. Experts advise collectors to scrutinize their nickels with a 10x loupe under natural light, comparing them to pristine examples, looking for anomalies in texture, alignment, or color, because even a minor error can be a major payday. The market for these coins is booming, with younger collectors driving demand for modern errors, prices climbing as the hunt intensifies. But beware, circulation damage is not an error, and only professional grading can authenticate a true find. The 2008 P nickel's allure lies in its contradictions, a common coin with uncommon flaws, a product of precision marred by chaos, a 5-cent piece that could be worth a fortune. As you watch this, ask yourself, could the next coin you touch be one of these rarities? Next, 1977, D. Jefferson, where today we're diving headfirst into a numismatic mystery so tantalizing it could rewrite the history of American coinage. What if a single, seemingly insignificant 1977 D. Jefferson nickel, a coin you might have jingling in your pocket right now, held a secret so profound it could be worth millions, a treasure born from a perfect storm of minting errors, government blunders, and obsessive collector quests that have turned this humble 5-cent piece into a legend? Whispered about in the shadowy corners of coin shows and online forums. Picture this, it's 1977, the United States is still reeling from the bicentennial celebrations, and the Denver Mint is churning out 297,313,460 Jefferson nickels, each one stamped with that iconic D mint mark, featuring Thomas Jefferson's stoic profile on one side and his majestic Monticello estate on the other. A design by Felix Schlag that's been a staple since 1938, but somewhere in the clatter of machinery and the rush to meet production quotas, something goes catastrophically, gloriously wrong, a mistake so rare, so bizarre, that it transforms an ordinary nickel into a numismatic unicorn, a coin that collectors would sell their souls to possess. Let's start with the basics. The 1977 D. Jefferson nickel, composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighs 5 grams, measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and has a plain edge, but its value isn't in its metal, it's in the errors, those fleeting moments when human error or mechanical failure creates something extraordinary, like a misaligned die strike that leaves Jefferson's face eerily off-center, or a cut error where a broken die deposits a blob of metal across the coin, obliterating part of the design. Like a cosmic smudge, or, hold your breath, a coin struck on the wrong planchet, perhaps a penny's copper blank, resulting in a nickel that's smaller, thinner, and glows with a reddish hue, a freak of minting that could fetch thousands at auction. Imagine the scene at the Denver Mint. Workers, unaware of the chaos unfolding, are pressing coins at breakneck speed, but a die cracks under pressure, leaving a raised, irregular patch on a handful of nickels, or grease clogs the die, filling in the D mint mark until it's barely visible, creating a coin that looks like it's hiding its own identity, a silent rebel in a sea of conformity. These errors aren't just mistakes, they're time capsules, each one a snapshot of a moment when the U.S. Mint's precision faltered, and the rarity of these anomalies drives collectors into a frenzy, willing to pay $4,320 for a 1977 D nickel-graded MS-67 with full steps, those pristine, fully defined steps on Monticello's portico that are so elusive due to weak strikes in the 1970s, or even $1,840 for a 1977 S-proof nickel in PR70 deep cameo, a coin so flawless it's like staring into a mirror of history. But what if there's more to this story than just errors? What if the 1977 D nickel holds secrets the government never meant to reveal? Rumors swirl in numismatic circles about experimental strikes, coins deliberately minted on different metals or with altered designs, perhaps as tests for new alloys or anti-counterfeiting measures, only to be accidentally released into circulation, sparking wild theories about covert mint operations or even a conspiracy to cover up these slip-ups. Could a 1977 D nickel, struck on a dime planchet, Be one of these lost experiments, a coin that shouldn't exist, now sitting in a collector's safe or, more tantalizingly, in a jar of change at a gas station. The history of the Jefferson nickel itself fuels this obsession. Introduced in 1938 to replace the Buffalo nickel, it was a bold move to honor a founding father, a man who shaped America's ideals, yet the 1977 minting was no ordinary year. Production was massive, with 885,940,612 nickels struck across Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, yet the sheer volume hid these rare errors like needles in a haystack, making each discovery a heart-pounding moment for collectors who dream of finding that one-in-a-million coin. Consider the off-center strike, where the design is shifted so dramatically that part of Jefferson's face or Monticello is missing, sometimes by 50% or more, turning a 5-cent coin into a $100 treasure, or more, if the date and mint mark remain visible, a detail that sends auction prices soaring. Then there's the double die obverse, a rare error where the die's misalignment causes a ghostly doubling of Jefferson's profile or the inscriptions, a visual glitch that can make a coin worth hundreds, though only a handful from 1977 are known to exist, each one a holy grail for error hunters. The numismatic community is obsessed with these quirks, with forums like Coin Community and Kanika buzzing with tales of collectors who've spent decades searching for a 1977 D with a filled D mint mark or a die crack across the E in United, each imperfection a badge of honor, a story etched in metal. But the real drama lies in the collector stories, like the Kentucky farmer who, in 2024, found a hoard of rare coins buried in his cornfield, a discovery dubbed the Great Kentucky Hoard that included a 1977 D nickel with a cut error, sold for thousands after experts verified its authenticity, or the urban legend of a 1977 D nickel struck on a silver planchet, a coin that shouldn't exist, whispered about on X posts but never confirmed, fueling speculation that it's still out there, waiting to be found in a forgotten coin roll. The stakes are high, a 1977 D nickel in MS-67 condition, with full steps, sold for $4,320 in 2021, a testament to its scarcity, while a proof version from San Francisco, graded PR70 DCAM, fetched $1,840 in 2007, proving that even common coins can become extraordinary under the right circumstances. But why do these errors captivate us? It's the thrill of the hunt, the idea that a coin worth 5 cents could be worth a fortune, a reminder that even in a world of mass production, mistakes can create miracles. Some theorize that the Denver Mint's high output in 1977 led to lax quality control, allowing these errors to slip through, while others whisper of disgruntled mint workers intentionally letting flawed coins escape as a form of silent protest. The truth remains elusive, but the allure is undeniable. Every 1977 D nickel you hold could be a key to unlocking a mystery, a piece of history that slipped through the cracks, waiting for you to notice its imperfections. Imagine checking your change and spotting a 1977 D with a cut error, a raised blob where the die broke, or an off-center strike that makes Jefferson's face look like it's melting off the coin. Your heart races, your mind spins with possibilities, because this isn't just a nickel, it's a story, a puzzle, a treasure. Experts like those at PCGS and NGC weigh in, grading these coins with surgical precision, assigning designations like full steps or deep cameo that can multiply a coin's value tenfold, but even they can't explain every anomaly, like the rumored 1977 D nickel with a double-struck reverse, a coin so rare it's more myth than reality. The numismatic world thrives on these mysteries, with collectors like Lehigh96 on CoinTalk debating the value of a misaligned die strike, estimating it adds just $1 to $5 to a coin's worth, yet still paying $15 to have it certified for their registry set, driven by the sheer joy of owning a piece of the puzzle. Posts on X amplify the hype, with users like at Nikolai Hawks joking about writing an MLA-formatted thesis on a worthless coin, while its Supreme Sodomite compares the search for rare nickels to chasing medieval relics, a nod to the almost religious fervor of the hobby. The 1977 D nickel's value isn't just in dollars, it's in the stories, the what-ifs, the late-night searches through coin rolls, the gasp when you spot a flaw under a magnifying glass, the dream that you found the one coin that changes everything. As you hold a 1977 D nickel, consider this: what if it's not just pocket change, but a gateway to a hidden world of government secrets, minting mishaps, and collector dreams, a coin that could turn your life upside down with a single, glorious imperfection. Keep watching, keep searching, because the next 1977 Jefferson nickel you find could be the one that makes history.